Good morning and welcome to the Tuolumne Utilities District regular board meeting of July the 14th. And if everyone will join me in the pledge, I'd appreciate it.
Pledge allegiance, flag, United States of America, Republic, God.
Public forum. The board welcomes public attendance and comments on district matters. This section is reserved for items not on the agenda. The board may not discuss or take action on these items, but values and considers all input. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll go on to the consent calendar.
Okay, item number 1, minutes of the regular board meeting of June 23rd, 2026. Item number 2, approval of reimbursement claims for director's statement of meetings attended and/or travel expenses and claim summary for June 2026. Item number 3, consider approving a leak adjustment request in excess of $1,000. And item number 4, reject claim for damages, claim number 26-05 AT&T claimant.
Okay. Does anyone have anything they want to pull from that consent calendar?
I'm sorry.
Okay. We got 2 of them. Number 4, Director Ringen.
Okay, on page 1, I'm not sure who this should go to, probably Carolyn. Just as a matter of information, on page 1, Albert Ramirez, this is the first time I've seen a claim paid in-house that didn't go to Aqua. I don't want to know the details. I'm just wondering, is this like a little fender bender or something really minor?
Yes, it was just a small damage claim that incurred. Someone had a private plumbing issue, but we also coincided with a TUD leak on our side, which delayed some plumbing repairs. So we settled out that claim outside of using our insurance.
Okay, perfect. I was hoping that that was the case. So
Yeah.
It's about the first time I think I've ever seen that. It was kind of strange.
Okay, thank you.
Also on page 1, Amos Green Printing. Carhartt heavyweight sweatshirts, $9,860. I don't want to get rolling on this, but I don't understand with a project that's way over budget. Like I said, I don't want to get started on it. Why are we spending $10,000 in that way when we're so far over budget on that project? Sweatshirts, for who? How does that take care of the ratepayers? Okay, well, the silence is deafening. I guess that tells me. Page 6, California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Once again, we're talking about our illustrious project up there at Sierra Pines. 1,600 permit major amendment. Why is all this being done after the fact up there? I thought all this was done way long time ago. Okay.
I'll look into that one for you.
All right, I don't know what's going on there. So page 17. Oh, let's try this for size. Rolleri Excavation Incorporated. Sierra Pines again. Temporary bridge. A mere $60,750. Boggles my mind. If you go up on the property, there's concrete, precast concrete, I don't know what you call them, tubes, something, that I'm assuming are there. No one tells us these things, but I'm assuming they're there for, be put into the ditch, the main canal, for a permanent road. Why isn't that done instead of installing a $60,000 temporary bridge? And then what are we going to do with the bridge when we get done?
I only know part of the answer. The proper name of those things, they're like culverts, pass-through culverts to me. Those ones that are up there were a gift, and they're undersized, so they will not work for the permanent bridge. So we've been planning on this temporary bridge for months. So it's necessary to do the dirt work on the upper end of the canal prior to installing the permanent bridge.
Why isn't the permanent bridge installed first?
Just out of sequence. I don't have an explanation for you.
All right, that's all I've got.
Jeff, can you turn your?
Okay, Abby, thank you. Has to do with similar question that Director Ringen had about the his first mention about that $253 deal not going to Aqua. This one is what is our limit that we can handle on our own, or is there a limit? Because this one's, as far as claims go, is kind of on the low side too. So that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, it is on the low side. Back in 92, the board signed a resolution that's cited in the staff report that says we'll handle anything internally under a deductible. We have a little bit different rules with Aqua JPIA that we have in the past as far as deductibles go, but it's historically been $500. That
Okay.
is something that we can always, your board can change that to a higher amount. It probably makes sense that it would be a little bit higher, but right now it's anything under $500 or less, we can settle out administratively. And then anything more than that, we would have your board reject the claim and then have the Aqua JPIA handle it.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
You bet.
I'm looking for a motion to accept the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any public comment? Okay. A minute here. All in favor
Aye.
All right.
and opposed? Seeing none. Okay. On to regular business.
Okay, regular business. Item number 5, consider approval of the updated travel expense policy.
Okay, by default, this will be mine. Over the past several months, there's been a couple of times where our travel expense policy has come into question about, is this compensable or is that compensable or not? And so between Jesse, our legal counsel, Melissa, and Carolyn, they put their heads together, and Carolyn actually brought some information from previous places to help clarify and open this thing up a little bit so that it's a little more clear. Not that it can be completely clear in all cases in every scenario, but we felt like this was a really good amendment to the existing policy. Did you all have an opportunity to go through those policies? And if so, do you want me to go through them, or would you like to go ahead and ask us some specific questions about the amendments? But I think just in general, because of where we live, sometimes our travel to and from events can cause us to leave earlier or stay later. or arrival. And so this just helped kind of clear it up. So you understand a little bit more what's compensable and what's not. So what's your pleasure? Like me to go through them?
Do we have any questions on that?
Just what were the changes?
What did you see?
They're marked.
They're highlighted in red.
Red.
I didn't see them highlighted.
Well, let me just go through.
Just the changes.
Through them then, if that's okay. Starting on, so this is the draft travel expense policy. 2.3.2 meals, little Ds are the first added deal is partial travel day meals are reimbursable when travel takes place during meal times, subject to the following timeframes. First bullet says breakfast allowed on the day of travel when travel begins before 6 a.m. Second, lunch allowed if first day of travel begins before 11 a.m. or if last day of travel ends after 1:30 p.m. And then the last bullet point on there is dinner allowed if first day of travel begins before 4:30 p.m. or if last day of travel ends after 6:30 p.m.
Any other questions?
I got some more. If you want me to continue, I'll just continue.
ahead.
We get all these things. So the next one is 2.3.4 lodging. Little C, lodging is generally allowed for the evening before an event if the attendee has to leave his or her residence before 6 a.m. on the day of the event to arrive on time. And the little D is lodging is generally allowed for the last day of the event if traveling on the last day would result in the attendee arriving at his or her residence after 8 p.m.
I don't understand. So you're saying that if we only start on the day of the event, we have to be there, if we have to be there by 6 a.m.? Otherwise, we travel? Yeah, explain. Thank you, Carolyn.
No, the idea behind that is if your event starts at a time where you would have to leave your home before 6 a.m.,
Thank you. Thank you.
then it would be lodging.
And the ending one, tell me about the ending one.
The same for the ending one, if your event ends and you wouldn't be able to be home before, if you would be
After.
home after 8 p.m.
Thank you.
Any more questions on lodging? Okay, the next changes are on 2.3.7 transportation, starting with little a. Transportation will be by the most economical means as determined by the district. Directors and employees are encouraged to use a district vehicle for travel if available and when travel by vehicle is the most economical option. B, district vehicle. When a district vehicle is used, transportation reimbursement will be limited to the cost of fuel only, assuming you don't use a district credit card. Little c, personal vehicle. When a personal vehicle is used, transportation reimbursement will be calculated on a per mile basis according to the current IRS standard mileage rate, and the following will also apply. Mileage will be computed from the distance of the employee or director's residence or normal designated work site to the destination and return. Mileage may also include travel to and from an airport or other place of public transportation used to travel to and from the final destination. Fuel costs will not be reimbursed in addition to the standard mileage rate. No reimbursements will be made for the repair of a private vehicle. The driver must possess a valid driver's license and carrying liability insurance. D, air travel. When airfare is the most economical method of transportation, the following rules and guidelines shall apply. Use of a carrier that delivers the most direct and economical option should be used. Reimbursement will be based on travel by coach and economy class, coach/economy class. No additional charges or higher airline rates may be incurred or reimbursement by the district for purposes of obtaining frequent flyer mileage or any other promotional discount for future use. Questions there?
Yeah, so sometimes travel plans could be unpredictable due to family events or other events beyond our control, there's a cost associated with getting tickets that are, I forget the term, they're reimbursable or transferable. What's the term, Jeff? You know,
Trailed off there. What was that?
tickets that are, basically you exchange them or cancel them without cost. But there's a term for that. I forget what it is.
Their travel insurance, flight insurance.
Yeah, I guess that. For example, if you have to make a change in the flight, being able to get a ticket that allows you to do that without incurring additional costs. Help me, Carolyn, do you know the term for that?
I don't know the exact term other than there are just flights out there that there's no changes, no cancellations.
Right.
available. And then there are other flights where you can make changes or you.
Yeah.
can cancel.
So I think, at least on my situation, maybe other board members have this, you need to be able to have the flexibility. Something happens, you can make a change, or in severe cases have to cancel. So tickets that enable you to do that, you pay a premium for that, but the cost of that versus losing the entire amount of the ticket is, in my judgment, a good, wise business procedure. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
Are you saying in case of an emergency or something that is that case it has to be canceled? Is that what you're talking about?
That's one situation, but I can't, there's a term for it. Airline use. Anybody help me with that?
Reimbursable tickets?
Yeah.
Well,
I know
mean,
that's one of the options when you make ticket selections.
in the onset, I noted that, you know, any of these policies we ever make, they're not going to cover every possible scenario that does come up. So I think on a case-by-case scenario, these requests or for reimbursement can be brought to the board for some sort of action, but we understand that, you know, emergency can happen. I know over the years, we've had to cancel travel plans on whatever reason over the, if we've paid the cancellation fee. Sometimes there's a cancellation fee that, you know, we had to pay, or sometimes, you know, Melissa's done a great job of asking the agency to reimburse us because somebody canceled, and we've been successful. So I think on a case-by-case basis, we can address it. Okay. 6.0 requirements and restrictions. Little A, attendance of educational activities must bring value to the operations of the board and district. Junkets or tour of journey for pleasure at public expense are not permitted. And then little C, a director shall not attend a conference or training event for which there is an expense to the district if it occurs after they have announced their pending resignation, or if it occurs after an election in which it has been determined that they will not retain their seat on the board. Okay, and then under 7.0, Board of Directions compensation, beginning with 7.1.2, example of compensable and non-compensable activities. 7.1.2.1, example of compensable activities, all regular and special board meetings, all regular and ad hoc committee meetings which you are a member. C, service as a board designated representative or alternate for participation in affiliate agencies, committees, or organizations as referenced on the board, committee, and representative list. D, mandatory and staff recommended conference, seminars, classes, education, and webinars. Little E, events to which staff has invited board members to attend. Examples could be ribbon cutting ceremonies, staff field trips, reclamation luncheons, and staffing the booth at the Home and Garden Show. Little F, all other meetings approved by or assigned by the board. And then non-exempt 7.1.2.2, examples of non-compensable activities, delay membership or attendance at agencies or meetings not listed in 7.1.2.1 above or not of value to the district's mission. And little B, appearing at or attending district offices or events on the district's own volition. I believe that is the end of the changes.
If we don't have any more questions, then I'm looking for a motion to accept the,
Well, I'd like to at least make
Go
a
ahead.
comment.
go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm really happy to see this finally come before us. I know the many meetings I had with the GM while I was president kept saying that we needed to update our policies, and I kept being told that all our policies were up to date. This one here was one that really irritated me. I knew it needed to be updated, and I'm really happy to see this occur. I think this is going to really minimize some of the trouble issues that our staff has had to put up with. And I know that was one of the things that I really did not like as being president, having to overlook the stipend sheets of the other board members. So at any rate, thank you for finally bringing this, updating it and making some sense out of it, bringing it before the board.
Thank you. Okay, I'm looking for a motion. Oh, you have something to say? Okay,
Do,
Director Jacobs.
do we have public comment before that or?
Oh, it's good. Do you have any public comment?
Yeah. Just a couple things. One is, looking at my role or our roles as board members. One way to look at it is just kind of custodians of the district, you know, doing a good job of keeping things on the, on a steady course, which is excellent. And by the way, I've been involved in expense report issues with other companies throughout the decades, and I'm glad to see that we're kind of incorporating some of the best practices that I've seen in other industries and other places. So thank you, Carolyn, and Melissa and Jesse and Don and Ron and everybody else who's had a contributing, Jeff, Wallace. One thing that comes to mind is a role as board members. A really important part of that is building relationships, and not just, I mean, we do represent certain organizations and activities, and those are outlined. But to me, the most important relationship building is we have with our general manager, with our general counsel, with one another, and with key members of the district. Now many of those are key members of the county, or those that influence what we do and that are affected by our decisions. So I'd like to have a bit of discussion about what the value of building those relationships is, and if the time and effort and energy in doing that would warrant some, compensatory time. In my own situation, I'm not independently wealthy, wish I was. So I have to constantly prioritize my time with my eight grandkids. I just had grandkid number 8 last week, so I'm pretty excited about that. Prioritize my time with relationships with the grandkids. We all do caregiving for family members in various degrees, and then activities that generate income. So those are all very vital things that require time, effort, and energy. So by having the ability to be compensated for some of the time we do as board members in building relationships with one another and with the ones that I outlined, we might want to consider making some of that compensable. I'll leave it at that. I have some more to say, but I'll just leave it at that. Maybe we can kick it around.
Appreciate that. Anybody else? I think that the framework that we have there is a good start. We can go from there. I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Seeing it. Okay. Which is corner?
Okay, item number 6, Coach's Corner, end of spill.
Take one and pass it down. All right, this edition of the Coach's Corner is timely. It's refers to a reference that we use around here pretty regularly, and it may one thing or another to whoever's participating and paying attention and trying to understand. So this is a quick sort of a intro or description of how our staff views what end of spill is and what it means to us and the district. So what is end of spill? End of spill refers to the point in time in the spring snow melt season when upstream reservoirs, primarily Pinecrest Lake and Lyons Reservoir, stop overflowing or spilling and begin storing all incoming water. When the reservoirs spill, they are full and excess water flows downstream. When spill ends, reservoir no longer full enough to overflow, meaning inflows and outflows are balanced or declining. End of spill is one of the most important seasonal markers for water supply. It signals the transition from abundance to management, indicates the peak snow melt has passed, marks the point when the district and PG must begin carefully managing stored water for the rest of the year. Once spill ends, our operation shifts in several key ways. 1, we increase reliance on stored water. We begin drawing on reservoir storage rather than relying on constant spilling flows. TUD becomes dependent on stored water until the next rainy year. The reservoirs can only capture a fixed amount of water each year with little or no carryover storage. More active water management. PG&E adjusts releases from reservoirs to preserve storage, meet downstream obligation, and support power generation and water deliveries. TUD coordinates closely with PG&E to align supply with district needs. System balancing across the district. Operators actively manage Phoenix Lake levels, ditch system flows, and treatment plant production, with goals to stretch available supplies through the end of summer and early fall. Following end of spill, the district typically sees higher operational attention to reservoir levels, reduced margin for error in balancing water supply and demand, greater sensitivity to hot, dry weather conditions, potential need to shift water between systems, optimize treatment plant operation, and reduce losses in the ditch system. What it doesn't mean is end of spill does not mean there is a shortage. It simply means the system is no longer receiving excess flows. Water must be managed rather than allowed to pass through. Why timing matters? Later end of spill into July means less time relying on stored water, stronger summer supply outlook. Early end of spill, say May or June, more time relying on stored water, higher risk during late summer. Bottom line is the end of spill is a turning point and somewhat of a moving target. We move from capturing water to managing. Once spill ends, every drop matters a little bit more. And that's where our operations team really shines in managing supply across the district. The last page there is just some historical data going back for as far as I suppose we are capturing it. Starting from 1974 and concluding this year. So you have the year, you have the EOS or the end of spill at Lyons and the water year type. You'll notice that from 1974 through 1989, there wasn't a water year type. I suppose we just didn't have one, but now we have 6 different water year types, and you can see that at the very bottom. Just some good, interesting data. What's sort of missing what's important for us and what's maybe unique to us is we have a requirement or PG&E has this requirement up at Pinecrest to maintain a certain level up at Pinecrest until Labor Day. So it's variable because the end of spill is, we don't know when it's gonna be, right? But, and then Labor Day isn't always the same time. So it can be a short time or a long time, and we could have plenty of water and not a lot of water. So it's variable. End of spill is variable, and the time till Labor Day is variable. So as we sit today, there are 55 days until Labor Day. The outlook looks pretty good. Currently, PG&E's drawdown is predicted to be at 5610 in elevation, which is 2 feet higher than the minimum required by FERC. And Lyons is currently sitting at 4,468 acre feet, right? And our minimum pool is 1,500 acre feet. So again, we're looking pretty good.
So that, what was that elevation you said the PG&E's?
5610, 5,610 feet.
And that's on Labor Day, they project that.
That's a drawdown curve at Labor Day.
And it's 5608 is the minimum.
That's the minimum. Before we can, TUD or PG&E can call for water out of Pinecrest to supplement our supply. So after at Labor Day, TG&D, that's us combined. TUD and PG&E will pull that water from Pinecrest down to Lyons to get us through, help us get us through to the rainy season again. All right. That's my end of spill. Hope you enjoyed that.
One
Thanks
more
to-
question, Don.
Mhm.
So if it, let's say for the sake of argument, we get a period here, a long period of high temperatures. I would imagine PG&E is free to adjust that goal, right? For Labor Day, they could,
Yes, I would imagine
they're
it's
not locked into it. In other words,
they're not locked into it.
Yeah.
They will adjust to the actuals. I'm sure this adjusting of the drawdown curve happens regularly. I didn't mention this, but TUD looks at this drawdown curves and agrees to it or not agrees to it. So we happen, Eric Hall and staff happen to agree to this prediction of 5610.
I don't remember the exact date, but that elevation was not from way back when. This is something that came about, and I can't remember the exact date, somewhere around 2012 area. And that was because of the Pinecrest permittees had provided some sort of legal action. And DWR, I believe, is involved in any adjustment of that lake level at Labor Day. So I'm not sure at all that PG&E is in control. I think they need to contact DWR and provide reasons for a for pulling down the level of that lake. And believe it or not, the reason for that 5610 or 5608 or whatever it exactly is because they have a sailboat regatta on Labor Day. And they don't want any of their little boats to hit the rocks. I remember from having lived up here as long as I have, as well as coming up here when I was a child, seeing stumps out in the middle of Pinecrest Lake because PG&E would pull the water down for whatever they needed, to whatever level that they needed. So this is all new, and it very much affects TUD because on top of all of that, we still have to have fish flows. So Pinecrest is also, as well as Lyons Reservoir, affected by having to have, at times when we don't have it to release enough water for fish flows. So it's not as cut and dry as it sounds. This is a mess.
Yeah, any water source like that, it is complicated, and a lot of the water does go for fish. And then I guess with PG&E, they are interested in doing some power generation and they use water for that. But as several people have said now, there's a lot of limitations on what they can do. And we're in pretty good shape, I think. That's it.
But we're in really good shape, water, I mean, as it looks today, it's also pretty mild out there. We've had a pretty mild summer thus far, so anything can change.
Well, thank you for the coach's corner. It's always helpful. Appreciate it.
Question?
Public comment.
Question? I noticed on the chart, there's one year, the only year that's called critically dry, that's 2021. I wasn't on the board at the time, but maybe you could help us understand why that's the only critically dry year. What happened that year? That just refresh my memory.
Is the
What
agenda
it was.
allowed 'em.
Well, I think there's a description here under critically dry. There's it looks like between, a low of 0 inches of rain, 14 inches of rain, and a high of 17 inches of rain. So it's just a matter of that's how much rainfall we had that.
Okay.
That puts in a critically dry.
But we went through that just fine.
We work really hard. Again, like it says, our operations really shine when it comes to managing critically dry years, and we do a good job. Now, I must say, I mean, it's, been paying attention to the district for the last 6, 7 years. We have done an awful lot of work on our ditch system, treated water distribution system to save a lot of water, fix a lot of leaks. So we've done an amazing job. You just saw Tony's report, last month on the urban water management plan, how our water loss is as low as anybody else in the state. So we're doing a really good job. There's plenty more work to do out there to continue to, but one way that we're managing through that is the hard work that we've been able to do, fixing our system.
One of the best in the state.
One of the best in the state.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, item number 7, Board President's clarification of selected provisions of the Board of Directors Policy Manual. This is informational only.
This is a little bit like the coach's corner thing, because I've been learning some things about our Board of Directors Policy Manual. And it's a pretty interesting thing. I want to briefly talk today about the Tuolumne District Board of Directors Policy Manual. TUD is a special district. When I started as director at TUD, I learned that the special district is a fiscally independent, nonprofit entity which provides services not provided by local government. Special districts have been in existence in the U.S. for over 200 years. They include water and wastewater districts like ours, as well as several others in Tuolumne County. Fire districts and others across the U.S., including everything from mosquito abatement districts to airports, hospitals, and ports. There are currently 51,000 special districts in the United States. Each one has a Board of Directors policy manual like this one, so it occurred to me there may be some wisdom in there for us. It is 22 pages, densely packed, and I'd like to focus briefly today on just one of its guidelines. At the bottom of page 5, it says the staff work for the general manager works for the board, and the board works for the ratepayers and the public. We've all heard this before. But so the question is, what does it mean? On page 9, it goes into detail in 2 paragraphs. If I can find it. One of them said individual directors shall have no power to act for the district or the board or to direct the staff to perform specific duties except as authorized by the majority of the board. Individual directors will not interfere with the daily operations of the district or job duties of the staff members. So basically we have one employee, and that's the general manager. When requesting information from staff, in a different part on this page, board members shall contact the general manager. When responding to member entities requesting concerns, board members should reroute such inquiries to the general manager. The board will provide policy and direction on district matters to the general manager by majority vote of the board. Members of the board will deal with matters within the district through the general manager and not through the staff. There's a lot of things in this, and that's just one of them, but they go into some detail on it. 4 issues regarding this have come up to me in the last 10 weeks. So I figured, that's why I brought it up. There's room for improvement for us. As directors, we have a variety of duties which bring up a variety of situations. But whether we're dealing with public officials, making travel arrangements, staff, or communicating with the public, the safe bet for smooth running of the district is to loop in the general manager before we do each of those things. And I think that'll make it better. Thank you. That's the last thing we have today. All right. Oh, that's right.
Staff reports.
Staff reports.
I'll be brief. On 6/26, along with many of you, I attended the groundbreaking ceremony for Sierra Pines Water Treatment Facility, and I think that went really well. On July 1st, TUD celebrated its 34th year in existence, and I'm really proud of the direction it's going. And then I've had several meetings with the board president and other directors. That's it.
All right.
Just quickly, June 30th has come and gone, and as you know, that's the last day of our fiscal year. So right now in the finance department, we are feverishly finishing up, closing the books. And so once that process is done as normal, I will present the end of year financial position to you. So that's coming.
Good morning, President Hollis, members of the board, and members of the public. I'm thrilled today. I'd like to introduce you to Madeline Barnes. She's in the audience here. She's our newest administrative and external affairs specialist. Madeline brings with her grants administration, public outreach, community engagement experience. Most recently, she's been the program supervisor of the Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians camp program. She has a passion for public service and relationship building, and I believe she'll make an excellent addition to the TUD team. So if you would, just please welcome Madeline with me. So she'll be in board meetings and taking notes, and so if there's anything that you have questions about or anything, obviously through Dawn and myself, we can get you answered on that. But she'll be doing a lot of studying on legislative impacts on the district, the bills that are coming into play, and obviously lots of grants tracking these days. So really excited to have her help and experience that she brings. So thank you, Madeline. We're so happy you're here. And then yeah, the groundbreaking on June 26th was really awesome. It was a great way to bring the community together. It was awesome to see our staff and the folks that are going to be working on the project together. And I have a few special thanks I'd just like to do at this public setting, because I want to make sure that they understand how much we appreciate their participation. First, I want to thank Tribal Chairman Kevin Day of the Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians. Those that were there, just I think if you were like me, I was overwhelmed with how special that tribal blessing was, land blessing that the singers did. And so that was really great. As soon as they started and spoke, I got goosebumps. Just really was amazing how we connected the land to its ancestors. And so that was really special. So I thank Kevin Day for that. And then we had 3 members, legislative staffers from a few different offices here in California. We had Ethan Hunt from Congressman Tom McClintock's office. We had Brian Raymond from Senator Marie Alvarado Gill's office. And we had Dan Moreno from Assemblyman David J. Tongipa's office. And they all presented the district with a certificate of recognition from those offices and just support the project, and we'll be watching its progress. And we're just super pleased that they were able to show up. We had close to 100 people there, so it was a beautiful day. A few raindrops early on made me nervous, but all in all, it was just spectacular, and I appreciate your guys' participation as well. That's the end of my report.
Okay, we'll have the director's reports. We'll start with Director Jacobs.
Yes, so I was thrilled with the way that staff and general manager and staff put together the groundbreaking. I thought it was very well done, very well planned, very well received. I would just, as a discussion item, I just thought we might want to consider as a board to offer a letter of public thanks to particularly the other elected officials who were represented there. I know that Abby has provided some, some email responses and appreciation, and that's wonderful. But I believe it really carries weight with other elected officials when we as elected board provide, formal recognition. So I wish the board, we might want to consider that.
Okay.
And then after the groundbreaking, Director Reel and I were able to spend a few minutes with Ethan Hunt from Congressman McClintock's office, and it was good. It was good time to get acquainted. Nothing earth-shaking, but just building a relationship for future things. I think it was of note that we, in part of our outreach for the groundbreaking, we were able to connect with two of our United States Senator representatives. Neither were able to show, but at least we made an initial contact, and hopefully that will lead to further benefit for the district. The one was Sammy Easton, who was a representative for Senator Schiff out of Fresno, and another was Margaret Ari Kiga. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. She's a representative from Senator Padilla. Senator Padilla has been very active with things that could benefit us, particularly the Fire Smart Act. Senator Schiff has been very active in the Water Infrastructure Act. There's there's lots of funding available for projects that are of interest, critical interest to us as a district. So I believe that as we have initiated those relationships to further them, that could be a benefit to us in the future.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. We didn't have our reports for our last meeting. I have them here, but I'm not going to go through those. Since the last meeting, attended the Sierra Pines groundbreaking with everyone else. That was 6/26. 7/7 attended the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors meeting. I did that to find out what the outcome was going to be with the Groveland Community Services District fire tax, and also what would happen with Visit Tuolumne, their contract. Then attended on 7/11 Master Gardeners meeting, and I attended that just to hear what was going to be said. The subject of the meeting was irrigation and water, and I just wanted to kind of listen in and find out what was being said about that. So that's all I got.
I've got nothing to report. I would like to say I'm sorry I missed that groundbreaking. I was out of town with family obligations, but looked like you guys did a really good job. So good job. Thank you.
Okay, forgot my phone, so I don't have all of the dates. I did attend the groundbreaking, and I also attended the Matheson Memorial groundbreaking. And that was early in June, and then I did the Water Committee. So don't have dates, but it all occurred during that time. Thank you.
Right. And lastly, in order, I went on a tour, a long tour with Kurt Beyer of several water plants. The water committee meeting on the 25th, 26th groundbreaking, and 29th meetings with the general manager and Director Kearns. But I wanted to focus a little bit on the 25th, going around to all the existing water plants. A lot of these plants are the ones that are going to be replaced by the Sierra Pines. And it became clear to me on that tour just why we're doing the Sierra Pines. The sooner we get that done, the better off we are. These are older systems and they all put out really good water, but you have to kind of stand on your head and swing a bang around your head to get them to keep making good water. And so the Sierra Pines is needed. And it's good to be, we had the groundbreaking out there and I've gone out there since a couple times. And there's 16 heavy equipment operators that are all our people just beavering away out there to bring it to fruition quickly. And it's a very proud thing to see that happen. And that's all I've got. With that, we'll close the meeting.